How's it going, guys? Jason Michaels here from Dime City Cycles. I'm hanging out in sunny Florida with the crew from the Moto channel. They wanted me to show you a little bit about my Triumph Bonneville that we just finished here. It's a 2005 Triumph Bonneville T100. As you can see, there's obviously some custom stuff done to it. Herm and I went through painstakingly, rebuilt the entire bike into what you see today, which is the Distinguished Bonneville. Our idea here was to create a timeless, modern Bonneville that exemplified the visual aesthetic of the classic Bonnevilles, the early T120s. The handlebars, they are a custom replica of a 7/8 vintage Triumph bar. Obviously the modern Triumphs, or most of them, are 1 inch. These bars are custom. They're going to be available at some point on the market. They kind of give it that sweeped back look that's the original style of a vintage Triumph. The next big change here that we did is we got rid of the Speedo and tack and went with a much smaller kind of retro style unit, slimmed everything down. The headlight ears, now you're probably wondering, where's the blinker holes and where's the keyhole? Well, the answer is we took all these and we welded them and filled them and ground them and then prepared them for chroming, again, to give it that kind of classic look. So the ignition was actually relocated down on the other side of the bike. And the blinkers, well, you don't need blinkers. That's what your hands are for. Moving down here, we've got a standard front 19-inch wheel. We powder coated black. We used a new set of stainless steel spokes. But the clincher up in the front here is obviously the vintage Avon Speedmaster rubber. A lot of guys, the guys in London back in the day called them Avon Deathmasters, but this bike doesn't really go that fast, so I'm not too worried about it. All right, so if you're looking at the exhaust on this bike, again, kind of following the classic look that we were going for, we went with a modern replica. This is made by British Customs. It's called a sleeper silencer, and if you notice, it looks a lot like the classic pea shooter mufflers that were on these Bonnevilles. The only difference is that it has a full performance engineered core, meaning one, it's loud, which is cool, gives you better performance, and it helps the engine breathe. So these are stock headers, and they're mated up to these pipes. And I tell you, if you want, we can start it up so you guys can hear it. How's that sound? Now, as I mentioned, this is a carbureted bike. It's not fuel injected. So we have to do things like turn the petcock on and give it a little throttle. So you hear just kind of that nice, low, deep, rich burble. It's, not as exact as a vintage Triumph is, but for the mufflers that are available today, it's about as close as you're going to get. So one of the biggest things about the 50s and the 60s that I liked was the use of black and chrome. There wasn't all these crazy wild colors and acidic paint jobs. It's clean and simple. So the biggest thing that we did to this bike was actually take the stock tank and prep it and have the entire thing chromed. We then, after it was chromed, worked with our painter and House of Colors to come up with a process to where we could properly etch the chrome in order to get this rich black top. The pinstripes are actually hand pinstriped, but it really helps kind of elongate and slim the line of the tank to give it more of that vintage look, because the smaller Triumph tanks were, they were a little bit skinnier. So that process right there was very painstaking, but in the end, we feel really good about it. The other portion is the seat. The stock standard Triumph seats aren't necessarily as aesthetically pleasing as the original ones were, and they're also a little bit uncomfortable. If you've ridden one for more than an hour, you know what I'm talking about. So we took the stock seat, ripped it apart, came up with this stitch pattern, got a hold of our upholsterer and worked with him to custom carve a cushion that had some nice contour and some foam to it. You can see it's got a lot of give and a lot of comfort. And the result there, the low sides that taper down, you can ride this bike for 6 hours, and that, you're just begging for more. So that completes the Distinguished Bonneville. from Dime City Cycles.